throughout the month, you need to buy stuff. You might swipe at the grocery store, swipe at the gas station. You might pay for something online and have it shipped to your house. So when you're using your credit card, it could be several times a day. It could be several times a week. It could be several times a month. You're using and paying for things quite frequently. So what if you don't have the money? If you don't have the money to pay all of that off, should the bank charge you at the highest amount of purchases you ever had during the month? Like if your cumulative bill at the end of the month was like $700, should the bank charge you that APR, that interest rate on $700, even though at the beginning of the month you only had a $200 balance? Well, that wouldn't quite be fair. How does the bank do that? If you have different outstanding balances throughout the month, how is the bank and the credit card company going to think about charging you interest? Well, they actually do something that's really fair. They say, what was your end of day balance for every day of the month? We're going to add all those up. And then we're going to divide by 30 to give you your average daily balance, and we'll charge you interest on just that average daily balance. Because if you were to just randomly choose a day during the month, it might not be representative of all the purchases you had throughout that month. To illuminate this, let's take a look at the board below. So we're looking at an average daily balance for a credit card that has a 20% APR, which is another way to think about an interest rate. Right, so this is an interest rate. So if we don't have the money, we're going to have to pay the bank. So in a finance charge, which is based on this interest rate, this APR. So on the first of the month, we have a $600 outstanding balance. And we maintain that $600 balance all the way through the 10th of April, at which point our outstanding balance decreases to $100, which must mean that we made a $500 payment to pay off this $600. We only have $100 left. Very good. You need to be paying your credit card bills on time. So this is a really good step to pay off $500 right here so that you only have a $100 balance remaining. That's awesome. And you maintain that $100 because you don't have the cash to pay off the $100 for another 15 days, from the 11th all the way to the 25th of April. But on the 25th of April, you had to go out and buy something. $200 worth of, let's say, $200. Let's say that this is your car payment and you wanted to put it on your credit card. So you have a car payment of $200. Well, you had $100 and then you put a $200 purchase on there. So now you have $300 of outstanding balance. And this is very typical of a credit card statement. You have an outstanding balance, you pay a little bit of it off, you put some new purchases on, and so it's really convoluted in how much detail there is. I mean, there's a lot happening here. How is the bank ever supposed to do an average daily balance? Da-da-da! Let's find out. So for $600 of outstanding balance, we maintain that for 10 days. So what you do is you do days times balance plus days times balance plus days times balance if you have different balances. So days times balance, all right? Days, 10 days, times balance, which is $600, plus, we have $100 for 15 days, right? From the 11th to the 25th is 15 days. So 15 days times $100. Plus, for the last 5 days, the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th, for the last 5 days, we have a $300 balance. For the last 5 days, we have a $300 balance. So you just list these out, days times your outstanding balance, because it could change. Now, if it changes every day, because you're putting like new purchases on it, this is going to take a really long time. But luckily, we only had 3 or 4 changes here. So 10 times 6 is 6,000. 15 times 100 is 1,500. And 5 times 300, 5 times 3 is 15, with 2 zeros, is another 1,500. 1,500 and 1,500 is 3,000. 3,000 and 6,000 is 9,000. All right, so if we add all of these daily balances together, we have $9,000 cumulatively over the month of this days times balance. But that's everything all together. If we want the average, right, daily, this is making me think of something. When we have the average, we add everything up together, and then we divide by the number of days that we have in this case. How many days are there in April? Well, here's a cool thing. I don't know if anybody's ever showed you this, but if you look at your knuckles, those are the months that have 31 days. So if you ever forget this, just look at your knuckles. January has 31, and then it goes down into the crevice, right, the trough. And the trough here is February. February only has 28 days, or 29 in a leap year. And then it goes back up to the knuckle. That's 31 days in March. And then it goes down into the next crevice. And in this trough, we're in April, so we need to have less days, fewer days. And we have 30 days, right? So it's like 31, 31, 31, January, March, May. And in the crevices, you have fewer days. It's like the knuckle trick. I don't know if it actually has a name, but the month knuckle trick is what I'll coin it here. Make sure to pay copyright dues to Mr. Rogers. So 9,000 divided by, we just figured out that April has 30 days due to the knuckle crevice trick with your hand. So divide by 30, we can get our average daily balance. The 10 and the 10 with the zeros, those are going to divide away. And then we have 900 into 3 groups. 9 divided by 3 is 3, with 2 zeros at the end of it. So 300 is our average daily balance. And I need to gut check this, right? Does this feel right? We started with 600 bucks. We went down to 100 bucks, and we went back up to 300. Does it seem like the middle of that data is 300? Yeah, that feels about right. If you get some number, like if you forget to divide it and you get 9,000, you'd be like, I had a $9,000 average daily balance? That doesn't make sense because I never had a bill that was $9,000. That's astronomical. So always make sure to gut check your answer. So $300 is our average daily balance. That is what the bank is going to use, or the credit card company, to calculate your APR and see what your finance charge is. So we're going to do 300 times 20%. All right, and we can do this in our head with a little mental math skill. 20%, that might be hard, but 10% is super easy. You just divide by 10. So if I divide 300 by 10, I'll get 30, but I want double that. So I'll have 60. So I don't even really need to do the algorithm here. I know that this is going to be 60. So I've got 60 bucks of finance charge, but this is A for annual, right? That's the whole year. This was only 1 month. There are 12 months in the year. So we need to divide this by 12. 12 goes cleanly into 60, thankfully, 5 times. So our finance charge at the end of this statement, it's going to say we have a finance charge of $5 based on our $300 average daily balance. Why do we need to do average daily balances? Because our lives are complex. Our financial lives are even more complex. We're buying stuff and paying stuff off and doing bank transfers and credit card statements, paying those off. Like, there's so much happening that we just need to take a look at what the average was on a daily basis. And you do the number of days you had at one balance, you add that to the number of days you had at a different balance, and then divide that by the number of days in that month, using, of course, the knuckle crevice trick that we just talked about. Have a great day.